Hey there, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. We are just progressing on through February. It is crazy how time is already just flying by really fast. I've got a couple new journals to go in the shop today. I wanted to say a big thank you for all of you who support the shop. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate the folks who bought the micro P journals, the tiny little peacock journals. I really appreciate that you guys recognize this as a challenge. Working in a tiny format is definitely different. I love the fact that you looked at it as, oh, this is something different and something fun and something unique to do, especially working in that 2x3, 3x2 ATC size. So thank you guys so much for accepting that challenge. The spine of this book is finished with a little cherub, and she is blowing a horn. She just really jumped out of the charm box and said, hey, I want to be part of this party. The beading is cut glass and some, these are new beads from Cheryl. They're kind of like a crushed glass. They're so fun to play with. And I just thought that the metallic beads also looked so wonderful. Art Angel sent a whole bunch of those. So everybody just wanted to join the spine party over here. This fabric is so much fun, y'all. It's got words like classical, philharmonic, operetta, violin, duet, tuba, on the back, congos, violin. So the fabric is very music oriented. It would be a super sweet gift for a musician or someone who taught music or something like that. But let's take a look inside here. I did put a Tim Holtz Countdown Brad number 4 on here because a lot of music is written in 4/4 time. So that was the reason for the 4. The papers are fun, and exquisite. They are all about music, musical staff, musical notes. Of course, we're still talking about your story, and maybe you have a musical story. I have a musical story. My musical story started probably when I was 8 years old. I loved guitar. I wanted to play guitar, and so my mom and dad got me a little guitar, and I actually have a picture of me standing on our concrete porch, you know, playing guitar and rocking out and wearing a cowboy hat and all that stuff. So it was, I was interested in music quite early. This signature starts out with a little bit about touch and time. This is from the Random House book of How Nature Works. And it is so cool, and I know that musicians rely on touch and timing, and I just thought it would make a nice addition here. Of course, if we're going to talk about music, then we have to talk about art. This is a page from Reference Dictionary that talks about arts and culture and art and architecture. I love this because there's a Salvador Dali picture right here, and I am a big Salvador Dali fan. I got to visit the Salvador Dali Museum when I was in Miami visiting my friend down there, my beautiful friend. And of course, if we talk about art, then we got to make some art. This is a page where you can design your own tiles, and of course something to color. Might be inspired by the art of China. I know I am. I think it's just such a simple art form, and you can tell even their writing is an art form. This is a timesheet. You know, we was trying to think of things that would kind of correlate with music, and of course time does correlate with music. This is some sheet music. Do y'all remember the song Jessie? Jessie, I won't put on cologne, I won't sit by the phone for you. Do you remember that? I think it was Carly Simon that did that song. I can't really remember. I think that's Jessie. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not quite sure. This is such a fun piece, y'all. This is a vintage postcard from 2004, a film and video companion that was released by TV Guide. I don't think we're probably going to see any more of those. But of course, film and video is music oriented. Skinny books for you. Lots of super cool papers. Very, very lovely papers. Very inspirational papers. So I was telling you about my music story. So when I was 10 years old, I opened for, my little three-piece band opened for a magician. Now, we were musicians opening for a magician, and I got to be the levitating girl that night. Oh my goodness, it was fun. You know, I got to be a levitating girl, and I got to play guitar and sing in front of a bunch of people. And I was 10 years old. That was just so much fun. It was really just, it's still to this day a really, really sweet memory. We've got a kitchen tips card from American Recipes. This one is a brunch to remember. It's quite pretty. It talks about omelets and quiches and all kinds of things. You know, when I think about brunch now, I love these cards because I think they're from 1978. You know, and you can look at the patterns of the china and the flatware and the serving pieces. It's just such a different kind of look than the looks that we have now. A piece of wrapping paper that features cupcakes. You know, if we're going to talk about brunch and sweets, we've got to talk about cupcakes. This is the portion of Alice in Wonderland where Alice is encouraged to eat the mushroom. And because this is an annotated Alice, it gives information about this whole mushroom thing in Lewis Carroll. Many readers have referred me to old books which Lewis Carroll could have read that describe the hallucinogenic properties of certain mushrooms. Amanita muscaria or fly agaric is most often cited. Eating it produces hallucinations in which time and space are distorted. So this is just a very, very interesting little piece here. It infers that the caterpillar has read Alice's mind. Lewis Carroll did not believe in spiritualism, but he did believe in the reality of ESP and psychokinesis. So this is a very interesting read to read it along with the Alice in Wonderland story here. This is a lovely piece from Cabin Living magazine, and when we're talking about homes, of course, we talk about our gardens. This is from the 1972 Better Homes and Gardens gardening book. I love this because it gives the winter roses from 1968 I think to 1972, right, when the book was published. So I think that's really interesting. A beautiful inspirational page from Victoria magazine. A little more from Reminisce magazine from 1992. We seem to have progressed to when people had cars. You know, I think we talked about the Depression and the Dust Bowl. This is a picture from 1931 of some folks in an old car. I found several recipes that were Depression-era recipes, and I made copies of them because I just thought they were so fascinating. This is an eggless, milkless, and butterless cake. The bottom of this article talks about making sassafras tea. And I remember my cousin coming in the house when we were there once at my aunt's house, and he was chewing on something, and my aunt said, "What are you chewing on?" And he said, "Sassafras." So I always remember sassafras tea from that. This is another of it's just some beautiful paper to work with, y'all. If you like old cars, if you like old things, then this is a sweet little signature right here to play around with. And I put you a little bag of goodies right here, and a cupcake bookmark. Isn't that pretty? Of course, if you don't like this design, then cut it out in a design that you like, and you know, you can flip it over and use it, you know, in a whole different manner. I thought the outdoor life clothing tag that you can make into a tag went really well with the Cabin Living magazine. And my guy was changing strings the other day. He's a musician, and he was changing his guitar strings. So I thought that you might like this pack of guitar strings, this packaging from the guitar strings. It's kind of cool because it's sort of has a different quality to it, kind of a vellum-ish quality. A little pocket of goodies for you. This big thing up here is a piece of packaging that you can make into a tag or a bookmark or whatever you want. I've got some flowers for you to play with right here. These are the flowers that I cut out of envelopes. We've got a bit of braiding, and don't forget about all your fibers up here, y'all, and your washi tape down here. This is a collection of papers, and instead of poking a hole in it and doing my yarn, a la this way, I decided to start running the yarn through and pulling it up, and this is just a pack of papers for you to play with. I think you're going to get more effective use out of the papers when they're presented like this. And of course, we've got braiding. I think of braiding when I think of band uniforms, and oh my goodness, is there a marching band? Is there nothing better than a marching band? My son played trumpet in the marching band, and I was just always so impressed with him and the way that how do people do that? I don't know how people move like that and play at the same time. To me, that's true artistry right there. This section, I pulled in a little bit of literature. This is a book from world history, the ancient world. This is about Pompeii. I love this picture of a little boy reading a sacred text, guided by a woman with a scroll and a writing stylus. I know that we're kind of book nerds here, and this photograph just really resonated with me. There's a map down here of the excavation of Pompeii, where the theaters are located, and the theaters are located right along the ocean. There's also an article about the Oracle of Delphi, which I find completely and totally fascinating. A little bit from our Hardy's Boys book from 1955, a page from Romeo and Juliet. These are Peter Newell illustrations from a book he wrote called the Rocket Book. And Peter Newell we think about as the illustrator for Alice in Wonderland, or one of the illustrators, the main illustrator for Alice in Wonderland. These are fascinating pictures. If you love sci-fi, you're going to love, love, love these photos. They are just really neat illustrations. This is a piece of board. I thought that maybe you could make this your very own and hang it on your doorknob. It is like a door minder that says keep out, or I'm practicing, or meditating, or whatever. It was just something different for you guys to work with. On the back here is a little flashcard that says which is not a musical instrument, so you can figure that one out. And I think on the back it had something interesting. Which of these is not a blanket? I really do love these cards, and you can't quite see the answer. The name of the game is Be the Expert. But it's good to exercise your mind like that, right? Stickers and a beautiful piece of vellum that has a daisy printed on it, and puppy dogs, because we just love puppy dogs. El Musico right here. We've got some Spanish text for you guys, and El Bandolon, a Spanish guitar. This is from my Ephemera collection, and we've got flocking going on right here. I love, love, love this card. It says, "Son, just for the record, you're great. Happy Valentine's Day, Dad." I love the vinyl records. I love the bongos. I love the record player. I just think it's a beautiful piece of ephemera. And of course, maybe this guy is going to go on tour, and maybe he wants to go on tour in Indiana. Things to see in Indiana. Some inky papers for you. I love these super cool paper strips. They're kind of, I don't know what they are. They're kind of more than tissue paper. They're kind of thicker than tissue paper. I really think they're super cool. And of course, if you practice really hard, you might get a gold star from your music teacher. More stickers for you to play with, a tag for you to play with, beautiful papers down here. Of course, notes. You might be writing a new song and you need a place for your notes. You can see this is the Eiffel Tower right here. Health and happiness in home life. I love this because it is the proper way to sneeze. My mom and dad have been sick. My nephew's been sick. We've just, thank you that we have not had it here. Knocking on wood, but I know a lot of you have had the flu, and so I thought that was a cool little insert. This is cross-section paper. Cross-section paper. It's grid paper, but it is very old grid paper, but we're not sure about the calculations, whether the calculations are super old or not. The handwriting is absolutely exquisite up here, so I think you're really going to enjoy that. This is a 1941 ledger sheet. More TVs and record players. A little bit of fashion for you with some pattern paper on the back. And for our last pocket, we've got one of our dictionary pages that talks about a coniferous, a basket bearer. In ancient Greece, a basket bearer, specifically any of the girls who carried on their heads the baskets containing the implements of sacrifice in the processions of Dionysia and other ancient Grecian festivals. I thought that was really interesting. I did not know that that had a name. And of course, we've got some of our Harry Nielsen ephemera, this time from 1947, featuring a Martha Washington stamp. I can get a little bit closer on that for you. There we go. Isn't that neat? Would not Mr. and Ms. Harry Nielsen just be fascinated by the fact that we are fascinated with their old mail? That we think it's a precious object of art, something that was so, every day to them is just fantastic to us. I am just amazed every time I kind of dip into that ephemera stash, and I'm very, very excited that I have a new ephemera stash. And this time it's things from like 1835. It's so great, y'all. I can't wait to start using it. Of course, we also love keys because a lot of us are into the steampunk aesthetic. So more of this beautiful black and white and gray key fabric. On the spine of this book is a metal key, a charm. And that charm also matches our closure. Y'all, this closure it's very, very persnickety. It's super small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a Tim Holtz countdown brad just in case that this gets too persnickety for you. But it was so pretty, I wanted to use it. The spine of the book is done in cut glass and some awesome. I mean, does that not just say steampunk right there? Those beads are crazy beautiful. Let's take a look inside. Now I'm going to turn this one on its side and kind of double hand the closure there. I love it. I just thought that that brad, and our angel sent it, and I thought, it's just the coolest thing I have ever seen. And the brad goes exactly right with the metal charm that's on the side of the book. Keys are, we have a literal key, and we have, the key thing, right? You keys go in doors, keys go in boxes, keys unlock things, actual physical keys. But, there's also a metaphorical kind of meaning behind keys. That's a very non-physical thing, the keys to your heart, or the keys to the past, or that kind of thing. So keys really do have like a variety of meanings. This is a page from the reference dictionary. This is a Jules Verne. Can you see it? A Jules Verne the cover of a Jules Verne book, Voyage to the Center of the Earth, which I just thought was so cool. I love that right there. We have all kinds of fun papers for you to play with. Map pages, While the Clock Ticked. That's our 1955 Hardy Boys. And this is an Inspector Poirot. These pages are really, really fragile, but they're so beautifully aged. And of course, Inspector Poirot is Agatha Christie. She's one of my favorite writers. And Inspector Poirot is hands down my very favorite detective of all times. We've got a little bit of Alice in Wonderland for you. Again, the annotated Alice, a beautiful illustration of Juliet from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. This is Sheila Burnford. She was a British writer. She was born in 1918, and she wrote, this is a little bit about her and how she met her husband after World War II. She wrote a book called... Hold on, and I'll see if I can't find it. It is about 3 animals, The Incredible Journey, A Tale of 3 Animals. And I did read a little bit of this excerpt, and it is wonderful. She has a very rich, beautiful writing style, so I had never heard of her before and was very excited to get new old text from a new writer. This is arts and culture, literature, poetry and drama, science fiction, and detective literature. So if you're into anything like that, then that's a great read right there. A little bit of packaging, so you can turn this into a tag or a bookmark or whatever you want. A little bit more about travel. You know, when we think about keys, we think about hotel rooms and cars and those kind of things do. Well, they used to require keys. Now they require a keypad or a swipe of a card. Things are changing. These are some envelope flowers for you to play with. We've got some braiding. I love braiding. A skinny book, and there's paper under here that features keys. I really love this paper. Isn't that pretty with the butterflies and the moths? Very pretty. And this is basically education ephemera. This is from a... what is that called? The Book of How Nature Works, and it's about cells, and it's about plant cells. So I put you a pretty plant coloring sheet in here. Education ephemera. More education ephemera. The derivative of the integral, which I know nothing about. Fabric pages. Some Tim Holtz vellum. More of the Reminisce magazine from 1992, this time just a funny story about a Chevy and the eggless, milkless, butterless cake. That's kind of going in everything right now because to me it's just fascinating. And of course we think about the Depression, we think about the Dust Bowl. This is another part of the desk reference from Random House, and it's science and technology and food and agriculture. I thought this was interesting. In 1650, people in Britain began drinking tea. In 1657, drinking chocolate was introduced in Britain. Very interesting. Oh my goodness. Englishman Jethro Tull invents a mechanical seed drill. Huh? Jethro Tull. How about that? That's really interesting. A cupcake bookmark for you and a package of things for you to play with. While we were talking about cells and plants, I thought you guys might like to play with some of these pretty sparkly leaves here. This is a page from the Vintage Dictionary. A runcinate leaf. I wanted to runcinate. Okay, in botany, pinnatide with the lobes convex before and straight behind, pointing backward, like the teeth of a double saw, as in the dandelion leaf. Very interesting, isn't it? Love those old dictionary pages. A little bit, I love cars. You know, my dream car is a 1958 Ford Thunderbird. What's yours? I'm interested to know. A little bit about, here's a road map here. These are all stickers for you to play with. And a little bit about transportation and communication, this time about railroads, and a little bit of a map of Indiana. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? You know, we think about, think about keys in music. You know, music has keys. It's in the key of D, or it's in the key of F, or, you know, that kind of thing. More braiding for you to play with. I thought that braiding looked really pretty up there and really did match the hairy paperclip we got going. More fun things for you to play with. A little bit of fashion, some pattern paper, a portion of the J. Peterman catalog. J. Peterman. I used to love those Seinfeld episodes. He was a character, wasn't he? This is from a Take 5 art project. It says Free Spirit, a skinny book. There's cardstock and papers in here for you to play with. A little place for notes. We've got bookmarks and border strips for you. I think this is the, Great American Recipes. Let's see what we got this time. Great American Recipes is Microwave Cooking Part 2. We used Part 1 last week. This is a 3-part series, y'all, this microwave cooking thing. It's very complex. This is part of the Red Cross Home Nursing Manual. I love this, guys. It says how to make a home out of a house. Betty thought the kitchen was a place of toil and gloom. She hated pots and dishcloths and the sight of mop and broom, till she bought a red geranium and set it on the sill and hung a little curtain with a crisp and perky frill and a saucy shining kettle with a whistle shrill and gay. And now she goes about her work and sings the livelong day. Oh my gosh, Viola Perry Wagner. Oh my gosh, that is just sweet. I had not read it until now. Oh God, I got kind of a little bit, my mother-in-law loved red geraniums. And she had a beautiful kitchen. Wow, okay. I need to read stuff before I put it in here. Oh my goodness, we love melons, and when I saw that cantaloupe, I thought, oh, I can't wait, to get fresh melons at the farm. Ooh, I'm so excited about that. We get all kinds of wonderful fresh fruit and grow fresh fruit. A fabric page for you guys, more keys, and a portion of Victoria magazine. These are ledger sheets from 1941. This is still part of that cross-section book with calculations. I love this. To my husband with love, a happy Easter greeting from the girl you married, dear, who thinks about you lovingly, whatever day is here. Very sweet. And this is from she signed it C, but this is Kath. I'm starting to learn the people with whom I am associating their ephemera. I'm starting to learn the families and the names. So this is C, but it's Kath, and it's signed 1963. I loved finding this, guys. I thought it would really fit well with the, with our little food section here. This is a vintage postcard from the movie Hook with the wonderful Robin Williams. These are Peter pancakes with lost boysenberry syrup. It's from the Dinner and a Movie series. I remember when that was on TV. Love Robin Williams. Gone way too fast. I also love this little piece of ephemera. It says, Valentine, oh be mine, as one good egg to another. And I love this. I thought that really went well too. And of course we have some Nielsen ephemera, this time from 1947. Look at that handwriting, y'all. Is that not beautiful? Goodness gracious. So lots of fun for you to play with. These books are, hang on a second, I wrote it down. Hang on. They're 5 1/4 by 7 by 1 3/4 on the spine. The books are the same size, but, they're kind of girthy. I measured these, and they are they've got a 3-inch girth on them. So they may need to go on a keto diet. No, they need to come live with you, so you'll have lots and lots of fun things to play with inside them. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you again so much, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will be back tomorrow because it's Thursday and we cannot miss a Thursday post. Talk to you soon, y'all. Bye.